What's up, everybody? It's Kalen Moss with Bradley Rice. I'm here with the MinuteAdmin, and I am going to really just pick Brad's brain around the future of AI, ChatGPT, baby AGI, these little auto-generated bots that we're hearing about, and how that relates to the future of technology and specifically Salesforce. So thank you for being on here, Brad. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you, Kaylin. Yeah, hopefully we can, share some information about, like you said, it's a hot topic, it's an emerging topic, and hopefully we can shed a little light from what we've seen.
Yes. So to start with that, I'm going to jump right into the first question I have. And I want to know, what are your thoughts on ChatGPT in general? What do you think about it? First impressions.
Yeah, first impressions, I'll say first impressions being about, 3 months into using it on a weekly basis. My impression now is that I'm a big fan. I love it. It's my new personal assistant, helps me out with things. I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of people talking, especially in the Salesforce space, about how it doesn't do as much as they wish it could do, or it's not as accurate as they wish it could be. I'll agree with you. If you think it should be 100% perfect, then I'll agree it's not 100% perfect. I'll also say I look at GPT as my personal assistant, and I'd be a pretty messed up manager if I wanted my assistant to be perfect. So I don't expect that of GPT. And in fact, I think GPT, for most things I use it for, does a better job than I would expect any personal assistant to do, and that's pretty remarkable in my opinion.
Oh my God. Like the fact that you said that you wouldn't expect a personal assistant to be perfect. I never really thought about it like that, because I'll go to ChatGPT and be like, why did you say this? Why did you put that response? Give it a thumbs down. And some things I realize, I say please to ChatGPT. I say thank you, like it's a real person. But at the same time, what you're talking about, it basically is kind of needs to be treated like a real person, where you need to understand that it's not going to be perfect. So that's a really good point.
I, I would say build a relationship with it, like anything else. And if you can think of tools as other individuals that you're building a relationship with, I always think that's beneficial. We have to learn how they communicate. We have to teach them how we communicate. We have to learn to accept them for their benefits and their gifts, and then also their strengths, but then also help avoid those weaknesses or build on those weaknesses so that they can become stronger. If you think everything should only have strengths and no weaknesses, then you're in for a world of disappointment, both with tools and people. So, yeah, relationship building's huge, even if it's with a machine.
Yeah, and that is that's something that we all need to keep in mind. And honestly, for anybody listening, one thing, and I just want to talk about it right now, because I don't know, I've just been having a lot of conversations about this, is it really is a tool. And a lot of people get so scared of anything new coming out. And it was just like, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't old enough at this point to really know how people viewed the internet when it was first coming out. Yeah. But I know a lot of people viewed, social media. A lot of people always look at social media or whatever's new that's coming out in technology as either it's the devil, or it's not supposed to be used that way, or it's taking over the minds of the masses. And at the end of the day, it's really just a tool, like you said, and you just have to use it as one. So
agreed. It's a powerful tool, no doubt. It's going to impact our world, no doubt. But to your point, so did the internet. I mean, like you said, people are fearful of really change. Change in general strikes fear into people. It's normal. It's natural. We're comfortable with what we're comfortable with, but we do adapt. Humans are, incredible at adapting, and that's sort of what we do. And I'll say you can look back, and I agree with you. The internet was a scary thing when it came out, right? Computers were a scary thing when they came out. Just to have this in your home and connecting to internet and like all the, it's really, really interesting. But at the end of the day, everybody that was scared was right, and everybody who was hyped was right. The internet has probably produced some awful things, right? The internet's also produced some incredible, things that took our society and awareness and community and ability to connect with each other to wonderful levels. So whichever way you look at it, you're right. So decide how you're going to look at it and how you're going to use it. And if you think it's scary and awful, then it will probably be scary and awful for you. And if you think it's going to be amazing and you embrace it and uh, accept it to the table, as I like to say, like accept people, accept things, thoughts, concepts to the table with you. Invite them, even if they're not who you normally think you would be inviting to the table. Invite them, and you'll find a positive direction for really anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I love the fact that you said adapting is what humans are best at. And that leads me to my next question, which is, speaking of adapting, where do you think AI is going to be at in the next 5 years? And also, how do you think we'll adapt with that? How do you think the economy, work, and everything like that will adapt with where it'll be at in 5 years?
Yeah, it's a really good question. 5 years. I think you could ask the same question. I think you could say 1 year or 5 years. And in my head, it's the same question because in terms of AI, it's so far out in the future. Like 1 year for AI is huge. 5 years for AI, I really don't even know. Like I couldn't even imagine. Now, 1 year, I can kind of imagine, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to replace some jobs? Yeah, it's going to replace some jobs. Are those people also going to be able to find other jobs that have been created because of AI? I think so. Yeah, I think so. The same thing with technology in general. I would say that, speaking to an audience that tends to understand Salesforce and what Salesforce is as a platform, Salesforce over the last 20 years has replaced a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs. Its entire uh, benefit is the ability to streamline and automate business processes for companies. That means less support reps needed. That means less sales reps needed. That means less marketing, uh, you know, individuals needed. In theory, if you use Salesforce well, you should be able to scale a company using far less staff because it's automated.
Yeah.
So you could say Salesforce took a lot of jobs away, but then we look around and we look at the hundreds of thousands, the millions of jobs that have been created because of not just Salesforce administrators and consultants and analysts and marketing specialists and business analysts and developers and everything in between. I mean, so many jobs have been created. But then we go outside of that and we look at App Exchange partners, the number of companies that are considered Salesforce adjacent, like Talent Stacker. Like Talent Stacker doesn't exist without Salesforce being in existence. Like, yes, Salesforce took some jobs away and it created a multiplier effect more. I believe that if we look back over history at technologies that have taken jobs away, they have created a multiplier effect of more jobs, and not only more jobs, but more skilled jobs and higher paying jobs. Um, I think we're going to see that impact initially in the next year. I think you'll see more of the jobs it's taking in the next 2 years to 3 years. I think we'll start to very clearly see the number of jobs it's creating. You can already look at some statistics around the number of companies that were created in the last 6 months with the name GPT, with the letters GPT in their name. Now, not all of those companies are going to succeed. A lot of them are going to fail, but there are going to be some monster companies created off of the back of GPT technology. And those companies are going to hire tens of thousands of people. So I think really when you look at this as net impact on the job market, you're going to see the advancement of technology resulting in more skilled, higher paying jobs created than the jobs that it's potentially going to replace.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that because there's so many conversations around the short term. It's like barely being able to see past your nose. It's like, oh, that's taken away this specific task that I do on a daily basis, and I can't do this anymore, so I'm not valuable to the company. When in reality, it's taking that away so you can do something more skilled.
If you want to talk specifically on Salesforce, sorry to cut you off. Specifically, like to take that idea deeper into Salesforce specifically, this is what I see happening over the next, I'll say year, probably less than a year. I think you're going to see people scared that they're going to get replaced by GPT. I think the reality is that because of the efficiencies, you're going to have very skilled GPT users. Like you see companies emerging now, like AI Force, which is with its GPT specialist certification, which are empowering people to be more skilled using GPT at their job. So what's going to happen is you might have a company that needed 3 admins or 3 developers or 3 solution architects, but now it can do all of that more efficiently because those 3 people, now maybe 2 of them can do the job at 3. It's never going to replace all 3 of them, but maybe 2 could do the job at 3. So they need 1 less Salesforce professional. And you go, Brad, that sucks. Like, I wanted to be a Salesforce professional, and now you're telling me it's going to take jobs away. Well, I think what we're going to see at the same time is that it becomes less expensive for Salesforce customers to implement Salesforce and do major enhancements to Salesforce because of the efficiencies of the professionals. That's going to lead to more customers buying Salesforce. That's going to lead to more people needing Salesforce, Salesforce getting more revenue and needing to expand their business offerings and the customers that they serve, able to offer those products at a lesser price because they're able to develop those products using AI technology so they can develop at a cheaper price. Sell to their customers at a cheaper price. Salesforce professionals are now able to do things more quickly, so they're able to implement at a cheaper price. And that increases demand for more Salesforce professionals. So while yes, GPT may replace the tasks and some of the skills that Salesforce professionals have, it's also going to be the catalyst for driving more customers and uses of Salesforce. And therefore, if not simply replacing the jobs it took, it will likely add more jobs than it took.
Yes, man. I'm telling you, this is a conversation that I think we can continue having, like a lot more, deeper thought processes about how it's going to open up so many different realms of technology. It's going to, and what you're saying basically to me is, this is what I'm getting. The realms that don't even exist, that we can't even fathom right now, are going to be just popping up out of thin air because these new ideas are going to come up that we never really even considered, because we don't have to waste our time on mind-numbing tasks that we do inefficiently anyways. And then, this is a conversation where we could break it down so far in depth about how it's going to open up, but
you mentioned something that I'll touch on real quick. You'll notice that's a theme of mine, is you sparking ideas for me. I was going to say I won't mention the exact task because it might be a little too much transparency into the back end of a company I was helping out with. But what I'll say is I was helping a team write a series of emails, and I will say that I don't think GPT saved us any time. And so a lot of people go, that sucks. Like, so it's not that good, right? Like, it's not going to do much. That's not true. What I think is that because we were able to use GPT as an assistant in writing those emails, there's still a lot of work that we had to do to make sure that it was truthful, spoken in the same personality and culture of the company that was writing the emails. And that what it allowed us to do is, instead of getting burnt out on writing, I think it was a series of like 12 emails. And that may not seem like much, but it's a lot. You get burnt out talking about the topics and trying to find a new way to frame them and those kind of things. While it didn't allow us to write those emails in a shorter period of time, it allowed us to feel less drained by writing the emails, because it could prompt ideas and it could give us direction and it could help us forward. So by the time you finished writing 12 emails, number one, I would say that the quality of the email was probably 10 to 20% better. You maintained energy. Energy is very hard to keep, and energy is very important in communication in general, but especially when you're marketing. It's very important to keep energy. It helped us keep that energy level high. And I'll say, when we finished writing 12 emails, we felt good. We kind of felt like, hey, nice, high fives all around. Have a great rest of your day. Where if you'd written those 12 emails by hand, as each email went by, they would have less and less energy. They would have less and less personality, and you would have left that day just wanting to binge Netflix and go to bed. But instead you had an assistant with you that made that task, even though it didn't save you time, it made that task considerably more enjoyable. And I think that's something that people are going to notice as well.
Yeah. And that's a hidden benefit that I think it's not just about outsourcing your tasks. It's about, if you do have a task that you still have to be a part of, having that mental bandwidth at the end of the day to play with your kids, to be able to go surf if you live by the beach, to be able to go for a hike and actually not feel drained. And, that's one thing I think a lot of haven't really talked a lot about, is like, Think about the work-life balance that creates for you to not be drained by the end of the day. These are these tiny incremental benefits added up over time, adding that up over the course of a month. You can actually feel like, oh, I've got extra time and I've spent the, 10 extra hours this past month with my children or with my significant other, or whatever it may be, or doing something I love.
Yeah.
So with that, one question I really wanted to ask you, and this is going to be probably the juiciest question, I think, and probably the most controversial.
Oh no.
Because it's probably on the back of everybody's minds, is this one here. Do you think AI will destroy the human race in 50 years?
Man,
Everybody's thinking it. Everybody's wondering, is Arnold Schwarzenegger going to have to come back from the dead and save the human race from the Terminator with AI? What do you think?
it's a very tough question. I clearly do not know the answer to that question.
Right.
Really just it's my opinion. Do I think it will destroy the human race? Man, like, okay, so number one, I base my opinions and my thoughts on data. The unfortunate thing is that we don't have a lot of data yet to determine this. Now, I think it depends on the technologists that are behind the tool, right? Is who's behind the tool? What is their intent? Who controls it? I think that what we've seen, it depends on how this tool is used. It could become a media tool. I think media has been shown, especially in North America, to carry a lot of weight. People enjoy media because it feels like they're gaining facts and truth, and I think humans naturally are they push towards wanting more truth. They want to understand more about their existence, about the way things work. I think depending on who's behind the technology and the mainstream versions of this technology going forward, it could be utilized to either be a truth machine, like we've seen individuals like Elon Musk at least have stated. I can't tell you what Elon says behind closed doors or thinks, but I can tell you that he has stated that he wants to create an AI or GPT type model that is specifically for truth, whether that truth be hard to hear or beneficial and beautiful to hear. He wants it to tell only the truth. We've also heard that some models are moving towards pushing an agenda. And like you'll notice, have all your opinions. I'm not going to share any of mine about the difference between CNN and ABC and Fox and NPR and different networks. And do they have an agenda? Do they not? Do they have a spin? Do they not? Are they really looking out for your best interest, or are they looking out for the lobbyists that pay their bills? I'll let you decide. That's up to you. I think we could see a very similar thing happen with GPT. It's a form of gathering information, just like social media or Google. It's a way for us to gather information. I think if that information is biased by the technologists who are creating it, then you could see it used for unfortunate purposes, right? And it doesn't have to be. Do I think the technologists want to destroy the human race? I don't think that's their goal. And I know a lot of people think, well, once the AI has the ability, once the machine has the ability to build more machines, then it could take on its own goals based on what it knows. And that's true. I have no clue, right? I don't see any data to back that right now. So I'm just going to say for now, I don't think that's where it's going. I think it will go in the direction of the people who control it. And the people who control it, again, unfortunately, if we look at the history of humanity, they're going to be driven by money. And I mean humanity. I mean, like going back thousands of years, they're going to be driven by money. So whatever leads to financial gain is what the tool is going to be used for. I don't think destroying the human race is going to be the largest financial gain for the tool. So I don't think that's the direction it will go. But I do think eventually, unless it just has an absolute philanthropist at the helm, then I think it will eventually just be another tool like a Google, where you have to think, are these results kind of biased based on who they're trying to push right now? And I think you could see the same thing for GPT technology in the future, where you're having to do your due diligence and figure out who owns it, who are the investors behind it, and which tool do I want to use in order to support the investors and owners that I believe in their same beliefs and values. So no, I don't think it'll destroy the human race. I think the goals of humans are much more reasonable than you might think. And it's really just how can we make more money? And that's about as simple as the human race tends to think.
That's very good. And honestly, I asked that question because, that's such a loaded question. And I know it really was going to force you to really, you're going to think about that sort of question. And you touched on a few different things. You touched on the auto generated bots that might have some sort of agenda. You talked about the agenda of news networks. You talked about the agenda of people in power, people with companies, and really altogether combine it back to the simplistic thing we're all looking forward to, which is like, hey, I need to make more money, right? Like the way the economy works is I got to make this money. I need to pay my bills, but ultimately at a certain point, more money, more power. And you touched on so many good things in there. That's why I wanted to kind of just chunk that one in there. It came out. It's definitely a loaded question. But
I would love to see people comment with their feedback on that question. I want to see how crazy the threads get in the comments on that question.
Dang, this is the clickbait. This is where this is the thumbnail title right here.
That's it. Is GPT going to destroy the human race?
Exactly. I might have that as the thumbnail, to be honest with you. Just to get someone to click and listen in, because there's a lot of good stuff you said about that, and to really think about. Because one thing I love when I talk about things with you is you don't just blurt out the answer to the question. You really think about it. You synthesize. Okay, what is this question really about, and what is the thought process that needs to go behind? And honestly, even for everybody listening, I love doing interviews with Brad because it's honestly it allows the viewers, it allows myself to really think about what is this guy's thought process. We see Brad all over LinkedIn. We see Brad on TikTok. We see Brad on, YouTube. And, by all accounts and measures, the guy's doing the dang thing, right? Like, and honestly, at a certain point, you want to see how certain people tick. You want to see how people think. So I like throwing these crazy questions out to you, Brad. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
no, I think you'll find I'm a pretty normal person. I may have some creative ways, I think, but overall, pretty regular guy.
Yes. And so I don't want to take up a bunch of time because I do recognize that we are hitting around almost 30 minutes here soon. So I just have one last question for you. Awesome. And we might be able to do another video about this, but I just want to know for everybody watching, where can people learn more about you? If you are talking about ChatGPT, if you are talking about anything else in the Salesforce ecosystem, where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, if you want to come hang out with me, I spend quite a bit of time on LinkedIn. So that's linkedin.com/n/Brad Force. So that's BRADFORCE. So come hang out with me there. If you DM me, I will DM you back. It may not be the same day, but I will get back to you. That's been something that I've been pretty passionate about being able to do, is respond to everyone personally as much as I can. No matter how big Talent Stacker gets and how big sort of these other initiatives get, I respect people for being people, and I think people deserve a response. So if you want to come find me, LinkedIn's a good place. If you want to learn more, I think, about GPT, we're going to be talking about that more on the YouTube channel. All of our brands are Salesforce for everyone. So that's YouTube, that's TikTok, that's Facebook. TikTok's a fun place to come hang out if you want to see me doing stuff that's a little maybe contrary. I shouldn't say contrary, but just different style to, LinkedIn's kind of professional. Facebook, I'm sort of a community leader there. TikTok, I kind of get to be myself a little bit and sort of do things that I think are funny to me, and maybe some things that are not necessarily acceptable to all audiences, kind of thing. So it's a little more interesting over in that side of the world. So if you want to come hang out, you can catch me in my DMs pretty much anywhere. But I do a little bit different content on different platforms, and I enjoy the diversity. Yeah.
And I'll link everything in the description below so everybody can click on those. If you want to check out Brad's chickens and his chicken farm and everything he's got going on, go to his TikTok. I see it all the time. I love it. You see the price of eggs nowadays. Get you some chickens. Maybe, Brad, you might create a course on how to start a chicken farm or something like that.
That's right. We can do a local meetup, and I'll bring a baby chick for everybody who comes. We'll be in good shape.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. We're going to end it now, but it's been great talking with you as usual. And I'm sure we'll be at this again and talking about some other juicy concepts as technology innovates in the future. So appreciate your time,
man.
Brad.
Always good to talk to you. And I'm sure I'll definitely be talking to you soon.
Yes. Right. Talk to you later.
Right.
See you later.